Hello, I'm Dr. Lillian Glass, and I'm a world-renowned body language expert and communication expert. Body language is so important to know. If you know body language, especially in this day and age, you are at the advantage of everyone because body language tells you really what's going on. People that don't know body language get in a lot of trouble because they don't read the signals. There's so many signals you can read. For example, if someone likes you or not. How do you tell if someone likes you? One of the ways is how they lean into you. Do they lean towards you? Do they lean away from you? That tells you so much in terms of how people relate to you. So the bottom line is you really need to be in a situation where you understand body language, you understand people. Another thing in terms of people liking you or not liking you, you have to look at their feet. If their toes are pointed in your direction, they like you, they're into you. If they're on the other side, they're tilted towards the door, they want to get out of there. So these little nuances tell you so much about whether someone likes you or not, how someone relates to you, how they look at you. Do they look away all the time? It's one thing about eye contact. Some people don't have good eye contact, but if they're always looking away, looking around the room, that tells you so much. Then there are people that tell you a lot in terms of if they're telling the truth. In this day and age, you have to know who's telling the truth or not. Even when you buy something, are they just saying this because they're in the store and they need to make a sale, or do they really mean it? Or what's really going on, especially over the telephone? A lot of times a person's voice can tell you if they're telling you the truth or not. What they say, how they write things. In this day of dating age, where people go online to meet other people, you have to know body language, so to speak, with cyber language. What are they saying? Are they consistent? What's going through their mind when they're talking to you? And how do they talk to you? Some people use sarcasm. That may not agree with you. That may be toxic to you. So you have to pick up certain things. You have to pick up what they're doing. Let's talk a little bit about liars. There are things that people do that they show everyone that they're lying. One thing is a shoulder shrug. They may say, "Yeah, it's really great," and then they shove their shoulder up. That's a problem. They may not be telling the truth. That's not everybody, but it depends on the context. Context is key. So whenever you ask somebody something, what did you do last night? Oh, nothing. I didn't do anything. And you kind of look at their shoulder shrug. Then sometimes people say, "Oh no, I really love my husband. He's so great." And they're shaking their head no. That tells you a lot in terms of whether they're telling the truth. A lot of times people will scratch their face or scratch their nose or pull their nose. You've heard of Pinocchio. Oh, his nose grew. Well, there's a lot of truth to that because there's something that happens with the autonomic system in your body, autonomic nervous system, that causes the blood flow to change. And as a result, you get a little itchiness when that happens. So that's why people will scratch their nose when they're not telling the truth. We really saw it so clearly when we look at interviews or we look at people in the public eye, and we can see if someone's really liking the person next to them or they're being phony about it. So it tells you so much. Then we look at people repeat themselves, if they hesitate, if there's a pause time, if a lot of ums, they're not sure about themselves. They may be lying. A lot of times licking the lips, people get dry mouth, called cotton mouth. And so this is another thing. And then there's a thing that happens too when people lie. Oftentimes they will rub their hands on their thighs or rub their arms or cross their arms over and rub it. And that is kind of like washing away the lie subconsciously. The brain is so amazing because the brain has a system in the middle of it called the amygdala. It regulates emotion. And you can't fool it. It tells you what to do. For example, if I say to you, "Cute little fuzzy puppy," I'm going to see a little smile on your face. If I say, "Sour, bitter lemon," all of a sudden I may see that happening in your face. I may see a subtle movement. So what happens is when you lie, your amygdala, your limbic system, so to speak, takes over, and your body does things that you can't control. So you may say, oh, well, can you control that? No, you can't. One of the things I do for a living is I analyze surveillance tapes and deposition tapes for attorneys. And I see who's lying, who's telling the truth. A lot of times I'll look at criminal tapes and I'll tell them what's going on and why and what's really happening. If somebody's lying, if they're telling the truth. You may think they're telling the truth, you may like their story, but their body language may say a whole different thing. And that is crucial. And so attorneys hire me to analyze these tapes. And oftentimes I serve as an expert witness in the criminal or civil case, which is quite fascinating. So again, you're looking at people's behaviors controlled by the brain. And knowing body language, knowing the signs to look for, can change your life dramatically in your personal life, in your interaction with people, in anything you do. So please learn as much as you can about body language. And I happen to have a book called The Body Language of Liars. Get that book. It tells you everything you want to know about liars, and it's very easy to read. And a lot of it you'll see celebrity liars, so it'll make it real interesting for you. Like OJ, why was he lying? Was he telling the truth? And we could see a lot of the characteristics, you know. Lance Armstrong, what was he doing? Was he lying or telling the truth during the Oprah interview? So you'll see a lot of things that you've seen before, you've seen on television, you've seen in the movies, on the movies, so to speak, you've seen on the internet, you've seen in the movies, some of these people. And some of these actors are phenomenal actors. Why? Because they know how to lie on camera. They know how to get into the character and to be that character. Most people can't be an actor or an actress. You think, oh, you know, I could do that. That's nothing. No, it's something. And it takes a lot for a person to become an actress. And I've worked with so many of them, so I know what it takes. And they're perfect liars because they know how to convince you to believe the character. There are people, though, in real life, it does come out. So when you are talking to somebody, you can tell if they're telling you the truth. You can tell if it's genuine or not. So learn as much as you can about body language. So when you watch television, when you watch the internet, when you see clips of people, politicians saying something, you know if they're telling you the truth or not. You know if your child is telling you the truth or not. So the bottom line is you need to learn to read people's body language. And it's not just their body movements. You have to read their facial language, what's going on with their face. You have to read their body movements, their body language. You have to read their voice. What's happening with their voice? Are they clearing their throat a lot? Are they tightening up their voice? Are they talking real loud or talking real soft? That tells you so much about a person in terms of their voice. And also their speech content. Do they repeat things? Do they hesitate? That tells you a tremendous amount about their communication and whether or not they're telling you the truth or not. So if you understand what's called the 4 codes of communication, their facial language, their body language, their voice, and their speech, you are going to be ahead of the game and be a complete winner.